Have you ever looked at a map tracing the familiar lines of roads and rivers and felt like something was missing? A nagging sense that the picture isn't quite complete? Not just a road, easily rerouted or forgotten, or a landmark obscured by time, but something much, much bigger. A gaping void where something substantial should be, a hole where a town should be, a community, a history. On October 28, 1988, a seemingly ordinary day, that feeling of something missing became a terrifying reality for those who knew what was once there. The town of Havenwood, nestled deep in the rugged embrace of the Cascade Mountains, was there one moment, a vibrant, living place, and gone the next, leaving behind only whispers and unanswered questions. Not abandoned, its buildings slowly succumbing to the elements. Not destroyed by fire, flood, or any other discernible cataclysm, simply vanished as if it had never been. As if a cosmic eraser, vast and unknowable, had swept across the landscape with deliberate precision, taking every house, every street, every soul, leaving no trace of their existence. One minute, Havenwood was a dot on the map, a pinpoint of civilization in a sea of green, home to nearly 1,200 people, each with their own lives, dreams, and connections. The next, nothing. An unsettling emptiness, just untouched wilderness, as if the town had been a mirage, a fleeting illusion. Roads leading into town, once bustling with activity, ended abruptly, as if sliced off by an unseen force, crumbling into dirt and pine needles, swallowed by the very earth that once supported them. No disaster, no earthquake, no landslide to explain the sudden absence. No rubble, no twisted metal, no shattered remnants of what was. No sign of struggle, no desperate cries, no indication of a fight for survival. It was a void, a perfect, seamless absence, defying all logic and reason, where a world, a vibrant community had existed just hours before, full of life and laughter. 1,200 people, fathers, mothers, sons, daughters, friends, neighbors. Gone, vanished without a trace. Their stories, their futures, the tapestry of their lives, woven over generations, wiped clean, leaving behind only an unsettling blank slate. For those who remember Havenwood, for those who knew and loved its people, it was a nightmare from which they've never woken, a constant gnawing reminder of the fragility of existence. Official records are spotty, incomplete, and often contradictory, as if someone or something is trying to erase Havenwood from history. Some say the town never existed, a cartographer's error, a figment of collective imagination. But others know the truth. They feel it in their bones. They see it in their dreams. A town was stolen from the face of the earth, plucked from reality like a flower from a field. And the question remains, echoing through the years, where did it go? Where did Havenwood and its people disappear to? The mystery begins not with a bang, a dramatic explosion, or a sudden cataclysm, but with a profound silence, a deafening absence that speaks volumes. A silence that echoed and continues to echo through the lives of those left behind, those who carry the weight of Havenwood's disappearance. If a town can disappear overnight, swallowed whole by the unknown, what else can? What other realities are more fragile than we believe? What's to stop it from happening again? What safeguards do we have against the inexplicable? And so, driven by a need to understand, a desire to remember, we must go back. Back to the beginning, to unravel the threads of this unsettling enigma. Back to the town called Havenwood, a place that exists now only in memory and whispered tales, to piece together its final, fateful hours, and perhaps, finally, understand the truth behind its vanishing. What was this place that now exists only in whispers and faded photographs? Havenwood was founded in the late 1920s, a quiet logging community built on grit and timber. Its founders sought sanctuary among the ancient Douglas firs and the Skykomish River. The town grew slowly, a main street, a diner, a movie theater, generations born and raised. It was the kind of place where neighbors looked out for one another, where time moved a little slower. But beneath the peaceful surface, there was always something different. Havenwood was built near a massive circular basin of dark rock, the Devil's Punch Bowl. Geologists were baffled. Local tribes spoke of a thin place between worlds. The founders dismissed the legends, but the land's oddities became local folklore: metallic-tasting water, spinning compasses, strange energy. No one imagined these quirks were connected. No one realized Havenwood was living on borrowed time. Long before the end, before the town vanished from the map, before the silence descended, there were signs, subtle hints that something was amiss, whispers on the wind carrying warnings. Little things, easily dismissed as coincidence or overactive imagination. It started roughly a year before the disappearance, a slow creep of the uncanny into the ordinary. Strange lights began appearing in the sky, defying explanation. Glowing green and violet, an unnatural spectacle. Like the aurora borealis, but in the wrong place, over the forests of Washington. The local weatherman joked about it on the morning news, attributing it to some atmospheric anomaly. But the lights kept coming back, night after night, a persistent, unsettling presence. Then came the hum, a sound that burrowed into your bones, a low, resonant vibration emanating from the ground itself, deep and persistent, rattling windows, shaking foundations, and unsettling the entire town. Some whispered that it originated from the depths of the Devil's Punch Bowl, a place of dark legends. People tried to ignore it, to block out the noise and the growing sense of dread. But the feeling that something was profoundly wrong grew stronger with each passing day. Time itself began to slip and slide, becoming unreliable. Hours lost in a blink of an eye, vanished without a trace. Days skipped without memory, leaving gaps in the collective consciousness. These incidents were dismissed as stress, as the pressures of modern life taking their toll. But they happened far too often, forming a disturbing pattern that couldn't be ignored. The children, however, knew something was wrong. They drew pictures of tall, faceless figures lurking among the trees. They spoke of the Whispering Man, a presence felt but never seen clearly, of dreams of floating, of being lifted against their will, of being taken into the glowing sky, disappearing into the unnatural light. Parents, burdened by their own anxieties, wrote it off as mere childhood imagination, dismissing their children's fears. But all the children, independently, described the same things, the same chilling details, the same figures, the same dreams, a shared nightmare gripping the town's youngest residents. They were the canaries in the coal mine, sensing the danger long before the adults, singing a terrifying song of what was to come, a warning that went unheeded. The oddities grew more frequent, the unease deepened into fear, and the anomalies escalated. Havenwood's steady rhythm, its predictable normalcy, was beginning to skip, to stutter, to break down. The signs were there, clear and unmistakable. If only someone, anyone, had truly listened, had paid attention to the whispers on the wind. But by the time anyone realized the gravity of the situation, when the truth finally dawned, it was already too late. The point of no return had been crossed. The countdown to disappearance had begun, ticking away relentlessly towards an unknown fate. The last known contact from Havenwood came on the night of October 27, 1988. Sarah Jenkins called her sister Mary in Seattle. They spoke of family, the weather, Sarah's son's cold, but Sarah sounded distracted, pausing as if listening for something. She said the humming was back, louder than ever, making the whole house vibrate. Mary could hear it too, a low thrum through the phone. Dogs barked frantically outside, green lights filtered through the trees. Sarah whispered, "They're outside, Mary. The tall men from Josh's drawings. They're just watching the house." Mary urged her to call the sheriff, to lock the doors, but Sarah seemed mesmerized, almost resigned. Her last words, "Oh my God, it's so beautiful." Then, silence. The line went dead. Mary tried calling back, but the number no longer existed. She called the sheriff's department, frantic. The dispatcher promised to check on the town in the morning. But by morning, there was nothing left to check on. The town, the people, the phone lines, gone. The last goodbye, lost to the void. No one would ever hear from Havenwood again. Only silence remained. The sun began its ascent, painting the sky with hues of orange and gold. Morning came on October 28th, casting long shadows through the dense forest. Deputy Frank Miller, a man familiar with every twist and turn of these mountain roads, drove up the mountain for a routine welfare check. He expected to see the familiar "Welcome to Havenwood" sign, a landmark that had greeted visitors for generations. Instead, the road ended abruptly, the asphalt crumbling and disappearing into the untouched forest. It was as if the path itself had given up. No houses. Where there should have been homes, there was only wilderness, no town. The heart of Havenwood, the buildings, the shops, all vanished. Just ancient trees, standing as silent witnesses, and an unnatural quiet that pressed down on everything. No birds, no wind, the usual symphony of the forest was absent, just a heavy, pressing silence, a suffocating blanket that muffled all sound and stifled any sense of normalcy. Frank called it in. his voice tight with disbelief and shaken. "There's nothing here." His words echoed in the unnatural stillness. Within hours, the area was swarming with police and officials, their flashing lights cutting through the gloom of the forest. They walked the perimeter where the town should have been, a boundary between reality and the impossible. Nothing but soft earth and undergrowth, as if the land had reclaimed its own. No debris, not a single brick or broken window. No foundations, no remnants of concrete or steel, nothing to suggest that a town had ever stood there. No sign of life, not even the faintest echo of human existence. It was as if the town had been plucked from the ground, lifted into the sky and erased from existence, the earth healing itself instantly, leaving no scar, no memory of what had been. Only Frank's patrol car remained, a lonely sentinel in a sea of green, parked at the end of a road to nowhere, a stark reminder of the town that wasn't. Search parties combed the woods for miles, their hopes dwindling with each passing hour. No footprints, no sign of struggle or flight, no exodus, no indication that anyone had left in haste or panic, no trace. It was as if they had simply ceased to exist. 1,200 people gone without a sign, leaving behind only an unsettling void. Investigators were stumped, their faces etched with confusion and disbelief, staring at a 5-square-mile patch of impossible, a place that defied all logic and reason, a place on every map yesterday, now nothing but a ghost, a forgotten memory in the vast wilderness. The silence was absolute, broken only by the frantic whispers of those who remained. The void was real, a tangible absence that weighed heavily on the soul, and the world was left with a question no one could answer, a mystery that would haunt generations to come. How does a town vanish without a trace, leaving behind only whispers and unanswered prayers? And could it happen again, lurking just beyond the edge of our perception? The fear lingered, long after the search was called off, a chilling reminder of the fragility of our existence. What do you do when the evidence itself is missing? The official investigation into Havenwood's disappearance was confusion and contradiction. Geologists, surveyors, botanists, all baffled. No signs of disaster, no evidence of a town. The case was quickly handed off to shadowy federal agencies. The story shifted. Havenwood was just a cartographical error, a forgotten logging camp. County records vanished in a convenient fire. Relatives were silenced, told to move on. The investigation wasn't about finding the truth, it was about burying it. But some questions refused to stay buried. When logic fails, conspiracy theories thrive. One theory, Project Chimera, a Cold War experiment in the remote valley of Havenwood. Was it dimensional travel, a reality bomb, the strange lights and hum, side effects of a secret gone wrong? The rapid cover-up, missing records, and intimidation all point to a national security operation. Some claim an underground facility beneath the Punch Bowl, shut down after a containment failure. If true, Havenwood's residents were collateral damage, erased to hide a secret too dangerous to reveal. Not a random event, but a calculated risk that ended in tragedy. A tragedy methodically wiped from history. Another theory. What if the force that took Havenwood wasn't from this earth? The glowing lights, the humming, the tall men, echoes of UFO and alien abduction lore. Was Havenwood the site of a mass abduction? A human harvest on an unprecedented scale? The town's unique geology might have made it a beacon or a portal. The children's drawings, tall, faceless figures, dreams of floating, were they warnings? An advanced civilization could erase all evidence, move a town without a trace. For some, this is more comforting than a government cover-up. For others, it's the most terrifying possibility of all. The unknown, watching from above. One last theory, what if Havenwood never left? What if it's still there, just out of sync with our reality? A time loop, a dimensional shift, energy in the valley reaching a critical point. The town, trapped in a bubble, repeating the same day, or splintered into a parallel world. The seamless disappearance, the ancient trees, our reality simply edited around the town. Havenwood didn't vanish, it just de-rezzed. Are the lights still on? The phone still ringing in another dimension? Our perception of reality is more fragile than we think. If a tear in reality can happen once, what's to stop it from happening again? What if next time the hole is even bigger?